Hello everybody, this is Spider-Man 117 back here with another review for Resident Evil Extinction. It's directed by Russell McKay, and it also stars Mila Jovovich, Odin Fahar, Ali Larder, Lane Glenn, Ashana, and Mike Epps, Christopher Egan, Spencer Locke, and Jason O'Mara. Well, anyways, Alice, in this one, I guess, basically they're in, Nevada or in Las Vegas, and what really bothers me is, there's sand everywhere, and then you're gonna tell me the whole entire world is just gonna sit there and have no water at all, which really bothers me, but anyways, that doesn't make too much sense. But anyways, at the beginning, we learn that there's multiple clones of Alice, and that Dr. Isaac has been sitting there and doing different experiments on the different clones of Alice, and seeing how they react differently when they come in. She has to try to escape, and there's this thing that jumps up and shoots a bunch of bullets at one of her clones, and she dies. And then Dr. Isaacs has also been testing that there's a zombie that has the T virus, which that's the basic zombie, but then it gets injected with the G virus and becomes smarter and is able to sit there and use a cell phone, or use this one brick thing that you put different blocks in. And when it gets fucking angry, it sits there and goes and fucking eats people and turns everybody else into a fucking zombie though. And they eventually Dr. Isaac locks his scientists in a room with it, and then all of a sudden they all get turned into TG virus zombie smart zombies, you might as well call them. But then also, as one of the clones of Alice dies, they sit there and the scientists bring him up to the surface and just plop him down in a ditch with all the other dead bodies of all the other clones. So I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting, and I was kind of like, what in the fuck is this shit? And then this film also stars Ali Larder as Claire Redfield, and I think she does a pretty good job, and in my opinion, a pretty faithful adaptation, even though this is one of the weirder Resident Evil movies, and I can't say this particularly really has anything related to do with the games, in my opinion, because there's really no game where they're really in a desert. So I guess that this movie has it going for it, or does it? But also, then they have a convoy of the group that they're in. They follow on the road, even though it is the desert. And there's this one zombie that Claire was asking for a pack of smokes, and she throws them, and the zombie steps on the pack of smokes and gets hit. And then there's this gigantic blade on this school bus full of kids and a bunch of other people, and it just hits the zombie, and blood just goes right up on the windshield. And I always thought that part was pretty funny. And then we go back to Alice, and she has a motorcycle, or I mean, it could be a crotch rocket too. I'm not really sure, but anyway, she goes to a radio station where there was a broadcast that they needed help, and it turns out there's this one fucking bitch that has this toy doll or whatever, and pretends it's a baby, and she sees that, and got some weird ass fucking people that apparently they're gonna torture Alice, and she gets thrown down in this pit, and they throw the keys down to her, and then these dogs try to attack her, and she takes the electrical wire and wraps around a pole and ties the dogs up, and then the dogs are tough enough to break the pillar, and then everybody else falls down while Alice runs up there, and everybody else like gets like fucking eaten or torn up by the dogs, and sucks to be them. I guess you really don't fuck with Alice. And also after that, then Alice has a bow, not a compound bow, but just a crossbow. I guess I should have said that, but anyway, she takes a crossbow and like shoots this guy named Stevie like right in the head, like dead center. And he gets like pinned against a truck, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And still, I think the zombies still look like zombies, and I'll give the Resident Evil movies that. Like, they look pretty good, in my opinion, and they're not really bad. They're not like goopy fucking shit flying off somebody's fucking face, though, so I guess that's good. And then, shortly after that, there are like these like crows. There's like a shitload of them, and they're all like on the telephone poles and on top of vehicles, and like they gotta like shut all the windows like quietly because like these birds are like fucking like hiked up on something. But anyways, you just don't want to get like scratched or bitten or pecked at by one of them, because then you'll eventually turn into a zombie and you'll get infected. And then shortly after that, somebody accidentally drops a can and then sets off all the crows. And what's really not like to explain too well is that how Alice like really like got the powers, and I wish it was like more explained a lot better. And anyways, they're all under attack, and like they gotta leave the school bus and get into like a van though, like that is all metal instead of like just like doors and windows and a bunch of glass where the crows can get into. And like there's this like flamethrower on top, and this one guy like tries to use it, and like this other guy's like trying to save somebody, and like it's like spinning and like the flames like going towards him, and then Alice can like use her powers to like almost like a force field around somebody, and like go up and like shoot, like project the flame up in the air and destroy and kill all the crows. I mean, I thought it looked pretty cool, but it's just not really well explained. So after that, they end up going in this like town that has a bunch of like mini structures, like different cities or something like that. And then Umbrella has like helicopters that like drop off like BOWs or the smart zombies, and they drop a crate on the ground, and then like they're slowly walking up to them, and then Alice tells them to pause though, and then like the door opens up, and they sit there and they just open up and like shoot the smart zombies. And then like everybody starts running all over the place, and then Alice tries to go find where the Umbrella employees are, and they're on top of the roof. And then like she's controlled by a satellite apparently, and then she's just like standing there, and like she somehow disrupts the satellite, and this like little box or the little chip in there like sparks a little bit, and then like they can't control her. So then she goes on the roof and eventually finds the Umbrella people, but then a smart zombie like follows her up, and then Dr. Isaacs gets bitten, and then he needs the T virus or the G, like basically like a smart zombie, and he injects himself to heal himself. And then after that, Alice and Claire Redfield are in a Hummer, and then the guy that was in the original Mummy, and Mummy Returns, anyways, he was bitten earlier, and he goes in a gas truck or a big propane truck. Then he has dynamite with him, and he basically takes the tanker truck and runs it through zombies and then tips it over, and then he ends up finding a smoke and lights it, and then lights the dynamite and blows it up. And then Alice and Claire Redfield run in there and run through the fence, and end up Claire Redfield ends up taking a chopper and flying the rest of the survivors out of there. And then Alice goes down where Umbrella's located and goes down there to find Dr. Isaacs. And then it turns out that Dr. Isaacs has been injecting himself with too much of the G and T virus, that he turns into this like mutated like creation. I mean, you could almost say it's what the Nemesis should have been from Resident Evil Apocalypse, referring to the tentacles anyways. And then he basically like maneuvers his way past Alice, and then they end up going in the hallway where the lasers are, and Alice gets the best of Dr. Isaacs, and like she gets like choked out by this like tentacle thing, but then like she like ends up chopping the tentacles off, and they're in the hallway, and then the laser grid comes at Isaacs, and then Isaac dies, and just when you think that Alice is gonna die, one of her clones was awake, and she just stopped the lasers from coming at her. So I mean, that was pretty lucky if you ask me. And then after that, then Alice finds that there's a shitload more clones like all lined up and like these like blue orb sort of things, and they're like waiting. So where basically I'm guessing like she just like presses a button, and then like they're all like get released from the pods to help Alice go and stop the Umbrella from doing more bad than good. And really, I think from a long time ago, they definitely started doing some pretty bad shit. By basically everything turns into a fucking zombie. But they're gonna go stop Wesker and the Umbrella Chronicles, or but that's in the next one, and we'll get on to some more flaws or like inconsistencies in the franchise. But in my opinion, I don't think this movie's better than the original Resident Evil movie, so I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10. But let me know what everybody thinks about it. But I still like the Resident Evil game series, but the movies like are kind of weird. So let me know. But hey, have a good night.